Welcome. You're listening to Sports Econ 101, the show where we discuss sports topics from a business perspective. I'm your host, Edward Brown, along with my co-hosts, Vern Glenn, FP Santangelo Jr., and Russell Jackman. Ahead of each commercial break, we're going to ask a sports trivia question, and I think we're still doing NBA players, are we? Yes, we are, because last week...
Sure, why not?
I know, well, Russ wasn't with us, and he missed last week.
That's when you ask.
And of course, I just every once in a while I got to throw some NBA, especially since we're in the playoffs. I gotta make Russ happy. In fact, you guys
was the answer Jeff Malone?
No, he did not show up last week.
Okay.
And Vern and FP, you guys are gonna have to let me know what sports trivia you guys want me to cover in future shows. All right. Okay.
All right.
When we come back, FP is going to tell us what's going on with MLB.com. Of course, we got to talk about the NBA playoffs.
I worked the game I worked game 2 of the Warriors Denver Nuggets. That's why you really don't want to see what I look like this morning.
Oh, we can't bury the lead, Edward. We got to talk about basketball first, then we'll get to baseball.
Of course. All right. Also, the few things I have here. How about Colin Kaepernick? Maybe you should go to the USFL 2.0. We'll talk. I want to talk a little bit about the USFL again. We'll talk about the NBA first. Go on to Major League Baseball, and then I've got a few little tidbits here. All right. Email us a question if you're interested at edward@sportsecon101.com, because again, we're going to be having a trivia theme of NBA players. And the segment of Sports Econ 101 is sponsored by Pacific Private Money, providing mortgage investments currently yielding over 6%, secured by real estate, which in fact, those guys are growing so large that they predict this year, 2022, they're going to do somewhere between $800 million and $1 billion worth of loans.
Wow.
That's growing quite rapidly. They're just hiring left and right. All right, stay tuned.
And for those of you out there watching or listening, send us sports-related questions. Don't ask us if we're wearing briefs or boxers.
Yeah, exactly. All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back.
Hello.
Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Edward Brown here, along with FP Santangelo Jr., Russell Jackman, and Vern Glenn. All right, FP, start us off. MLB.com.
No, we got to talk about basketball.
Basketball. I'm sorry. We're talking about basketball first.
We can't bury the lead. The Golden State Warriors are playing some good basketball. I don't know if you guys heard about this, and they have some guy named Stephen Curry coming off the bench.
He's going to be the sixth man of the year, right?
Yeah, I think he's got a future in this league. But Vern, you were at the game last night.
That's right. Yeah, I was there doing multiple live shots, all the newscasts. I got there about 3:30. Walked out at about 12:30 a.m.
Oh,
but hey, you know what? It was. Here's the thing for me. I mean, I feel like, remember those old Roadrunner Coyote cartoons? You know, and the Coyote's like gaining on the Roadrunners, almost got his hands on the Roadrunner's neck, and then all of a sudden, blink of an eye, bam.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Warriors did to the Denver Nuggets. From about 5:55 left before the half, they put that, I want to call it the death pool lineup. That's Curry, Thompson, and Jordan Poole. They put them in, and just like that, bam, Warriors, they rip off 12 straight points. They outscore the Denver Nuggets 26-8, lead by 6 at the half. And then the third quarter, it was just complete carnage by the Warriors. And the Nuggets, I feel bad for them because all they really have is Jokic that can do damage. And they took Jokic out of the game, so much so he got so frustrated he got ejected from the game.
Well, wasn't this everything we'd all been saying about the Warriors since the beginning of the season, which was that when they get everybody on the floor at the same time, finally, after they only played 11 minutes together combined for the entire season, that the teams that face the Warriors full strength would be in a lot of trouble? That's something that we'd all been predicting.
You know what?
I think you're blending the storylines, Mr. Jackman. The 11 minutes, you're talking about the combination of Draymond, Clay, Thompson. I'm talking about Curry, Thompson, and Jordan Poole.
Yeah,
and those guys together.
Yeah, Murray hasn't played yet. For Denver, I guess is he even going to play at all? because
he's been cleared to play, and they say it's up to him. But for whatever reason, Murray just doesn't want any of it. And remember, when he hurt his ACL, it was in that building last year. So I don't know what's going on with him. And I've never had an ACL injury, so I don't know. I don't know how you mentally get over that. But for whatever reason, the doctors are saying, hey, he can resume activities, and Murray's not having it.
Yeah, I mean, I rolled an ankle really, really badly playing basketball years ago. And I was only 34 at the time, so I was still, relatively young. And I was out for a year. And then when I came back, it was like scary and obviously I'm not playing nearly at the level these guys are, but just even playing pickup basketball, it was like you get very, very tenuous with that because you just know that one wrong move and back again.
Guys, Coach Malone said a very interesting thing in that game too, post game. He said, hey, we just, for whatever reason, we have to stick together. If we're splintered in any way, we have no chance against the Warriors. I mean, they've got 48 or so hours to figure it out because game 3 will be coming up Thursday in Denver, and they better have an answer by then.
Guys, can we talk about Jordan Poole for a second and the emergence of this star? I mean, we've seen it as Warriors fans. What was that, Vern?
Nobody saw this coming.
Nobody saw this coming. I want to tell you something. I saw this coming.
I did too last year.
Just because. So I got a quick story.
14 months ago, he was in the G League trying to figure out how to play. He was in the backcourt with Jeremy Lin. Now I know he had the confidence that he could do what he's been doing in these first 2 games, but I think for the fringe fan, nobody saw it coming.
Well, for the fringe fan, that's true. But let me tell you a story. So a few nights after Jordan Poole was drafted, I had the honor, I guess, to sit with him right behind home plate at a San Francisco Giants game. And we got to talk for about an hour and a half, 2 hours. I got to know his manager and best friend, Raylan. And just getting to know this kid, you knew he just understood it. He got it. He got everything, the business side of it, how to handle himself, how to guard himself from outside sources, the work ethic, and just like the attitude and the chip on his shoulder. And at the time, I believe he was very young. He was like 18 years old, like 19 years old, like very, very young kid. And I knew, like, from that conversation that this kid was going to be super successful and a superstar instantly. I just knew.
He had a mature attitude. And you just look at him. He looks like such a nice guy too,
Yeah, he was such a nice guy, but he just got it on every fundamental level. Like, just a very, very smart kid from Michigan. And you just knew he was going to be successful. And if not, he was going to make an impact on the Warriors no matter what. So then when Warriors fans first saw this kid come up and he was playing for the Warriors and he was just shooting up all these threes, they weren't going in. But he just kept on shooting threes, and you could tell he had that confidence, and it was unwavering.
Yeah.
And then now you get to this season, and now you get into the playoffs, and he is a killer.
Yeah.
I mean, he is just making plays that make you go, "Oh my goodness, is this the initiation into the Splash Brothers?" I think it is.
It's not just his threes. It's not just his threes.
Oh,
it's his ability to drive. Yeah,
it's
and his
everything.
ability to drive him.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. His first year was a bust. His first year with the Warriors, he was terrible. And he has been one of the biggest come-arounds that I've seen. If only we could get this out of Wiseman, this team would be a hands-down championship contending team.
Well, just talking to his best friend, Raylan, who I've had a relationship with for the past couple of years, he said that Steph Curry has really taken him under his wing, and that's the difference. He said that's the absolute difference. When you have a guy like Steph Curry believing in you, like, nothing really wavers confidence-wise. And this kid already had confidence without, like, throughout the wazoo. Like, this guy is going to be an absolute superstar in the NBA. And we'll see if the Warriors can retain him after this playoff run, because he's going to want to get a contract and get paid somewhere.
Yeah. Well,
so
some of those shots
the Warriors can do that.
Were Curry-like last night.
I
mean, it was just incredible. One of them, I think, was against DeMarcus Cousins when he was right on him, and there was at least a 6 inch difference there. I mean, because DeMarcus is a big boy.
Oh yeah, that play I know exactly what you're talking about. He took 2 steps back and hit a three, like falling over, just circus stuff. But I just want to go to your point, Vern. Fortunately, I've had a conversation right when he was right out getting drafted. And I knew from that conversation, you just know when you have conversations with people, they're going to be successful. I knew he was going to find a way to make an impact in the NBA and on the Warriors. But to this level, I will agree. I don't think a lot of us saw that coming.
Just tell him not to get any tattoos.
Hey,
Look what happened to Patrick McCaw. You know what? He was a nice, great young kid, and then one day he comes out with all these this huge long tattoo on his arm, and suddenly he starts going downhill.
Edward,
Well, I
express
don't think
yourself
that
any way you can.
was the reason for his decline.
Yeah, express yourself any way you can.
Good Lord.
I'm talking more of a psychological thing rather than the ink did something to his hands, in his arm. All right, you guys.
I will say this: there's no one, only one person in the history of the Warriors had a better playoff debut than Jordan Poole, and that's a guy by the name of Will Chamberlain.
Yeah.
Beast. Okay, you guys ready for our first trivia question? Talking NBA players here. I'm gonna do this in the this guy played for the Timberwolves. In the mid-1990s, he became the first player since the 70s to go straight from high school to the NBA. Who is he? All right. That's our trivia question. I figured I'll start you off with an easy one.
That is easy.
That one's easy, and the next one's easy. Next one after that's a little harder. Okay. I figured
the 40s, I'm sure.
Keep you guys entertained.
You dug one out from the 40s or 50s.
No.
Like your baseball trivia.
Like in baseball trivia, exactly. Okay, so this guy played for the Timberwolves, and in the 1990s became the first player since the 70s to go straight from high school to the NBA. Who are we talking about? All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. I'm Edward Brown, along with FP Santangelo Jr., Russell Jackman, and Vern Glenn. All right, guys. Who played for the Timberwolves? In the 1990s, he became the first player since the 1970s to go straight from high school to the NBA. Russell,
we all know the answer to that one. So who wants to take it?
Go ahead, Russell.
I'll take it because I wasn't here last week. So Kevin Garnett.
Kevin Garnett. Very good. All right.
Yes, the last guy to deliver a championship to Boston, too. So.
Yeah, that's right. So FP, MLB.com. Let's move on to that.
Okay, guys. So I got a bone to pick, I guess, with media in general, and I want to get your guys' opinion on this because I was just thinking about this the other day. So we're about 2 weeks into the baseball season now, and MLB has been releasing, as of 2 years ago, power rankings just to rank the best teams in baseball. Now, this is going not off by record, but by roster and all these different things. But to me, I see a lot of self-interest involved in this, if this makes sense. So I'll give you the power rankings after 2 weeks right now. The Dodgers are 1, as they should be. They're very good, very good. Blue Jays are 2. They're very, very good. That makes sense. White Sox 3, Astros 4, Mets 5, Yankees.
Now, how do the Mets get number 5?
Well, I'll tell you in a second, Russ. The Mets are really good right now. But the Yankees are 6 at 5-5 on the season. They're a 500 team right now. And then the San Francisco Giants, who have the best record, tied for the best record in baseball, are 7th. And it goes Rays, Padres, and Cardinals. So to me, guys, I always see the East Coast bias. We talk about it here, but I know this show is more nationally syndicated. Why is it that like San Francisco, that's such a big market, and we can even refer to the Warriors and the 49ers too, is so underrated with sports teams when they come out with these rankings? It's so.
I'll tell you why. First of all, they don't see any team outside of the Dodgers west of the Rockies. Second of all, the time of the Giants games just do not gel for the East Coast. I mean, the Giants are playing a 7 o'clock game. It's 10 o'clock already. So nobody's going to stay up that late to check these guys out. Those are the two primary reasons right there.
Those are great reasons, Vern. The one that really shook me on this was the Yankees at 6, and with a 5-5 record, and they just lost to the Orioles this weekend in a 3-game series. The Orioles are supposed to lose 100 games this year. That's what they're projected to do. And then you throw the Yankees in the top 10. So for me, it's like, okay, does MLB tell these writers that come up with these power rankings, listen, like this is who makes the most rankings, and we have to make sure that they look like they're good, even though they're not. so that way they get some play nationally, or so that way
I think they're
drives
told. I
conversation.
think they are told. You know what? We want this list discussed at the water cooler. You know, tomorrow at all the offices. So we got to pick things that aren't going to be. It's like, you know, the Academy Awards. You know,
Okay.
it's not just based on stats. It's based on feelings. And so they're trying to get people to talk about this. And by giving controversial rankings, they are making people talk about it and making their own news story as opposed to just reporting it.
Also, no matter how
I think
good,
I think Mr. Jackman has a good point.
Yep.
And I also think that you can't have a deep rooted serious baseball discussion without bringing up the Yankees, because no matter how they're doing, the Yankees kind of drive the bus in any kind of baseball discussion.
so
They're
also
like the Lakers. They're like the Lakers.
yeah. Well, what
Yes.
about like the A's? No matter how good they are, the small
They're always bad.
roster and such a small market, Oakland, especially compared to the Giants, they never
17,000 showed up for the home opener last night. 17,000
Against the Orioles too, which didn't help. But
Yeah.
No, but that was the smallest home opener of anyone in the major leagues. So,
Well,
they're
hey,
kind
small
of living.
market business model, small budget, for the lack of a better word. The payroll is near the bottom, and yet as we record this show, they're relevant. They're 6-5. Yeah, their home opener is against the Orioles, but this is an A's team that's, again, projected to lose 90 to 100 games. And here we are, a week and a half in the season, and they're still there at 6 and they're above 500.
Didn't
I
I
wanted
hear
to talk about the history real quick of the Oakland A's and the San Francisco Giants. The Oakland A's should not be a small market team. They're in a very, very rich fan market, right? They have a lot of resources around them. They're in one of the richest areas in the world, and one of the
Owned by
biggest
one of the
reasons-
richest guys around.
Yep, exactly. And it's honestly an ownership decision. It's a business decision to play the we're poor card. So that way they don't have to pay players, but they don't get media coverage for a certain reason. And this is what it's been explained to me, Vern. You've been in this market way longer than I have, so please correct me if I'm wrong. But when the San Francisco Giants came from New York to San Francisco, they knew that they had to get in bed with the radio stations and the media companies, the papers, all that stuff. So they pushed a lot harder than the Oakland Athletics did to really get that fandom going here in San Francisco. And that was the difference, was the media coverage. So they were making all these deals. They were trying to do this and do that with all the media companies, while the Oakland A's took a different approach because they came from Philadelphia and they felt like they were ostracized.
They went from Philadelphia to Kansas City, then Kansas City and that's, it's like nothing compared to coming from New York.
Exactly. But that ownership group at the time wasn't a fan of the media because the media was treating the A's like they were the white elephants, right? That was the whole thing, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
That is where the white elephant mascot, not the mascot, but
exactly. So the A's never did that. They never invested into media as much as the Giants. And that's pretty much the difference between the big market San Francisco Giants and the small market Oakland Athletics.
Let me make a comment on that. I think one of the big things is there was a huge migration from New York to San Francisco. And so it took a lot of its fans with it. Versus Philadelphia to Kansas City to Oakland. I think that's kind of a big part. Also,
you guys forget what a jerk Charles Finley was.
Yeah.
But you probably don't remember FP, but Charles Finley was not a very well-liked person, either in or outside of baseball.
Yeah. And then just a quick thing, Russ, the 7-3 New York Mets with the second best team ERA are facing the San Francisco Giants this week, that have the best team ERA with 2.20 ERA this week in a 4-game series.
Doubleheader today.
Doubleheader today. We'll see how that goes. I know this will probably play on Saturday, but it's going to be a great series. I'm excited.
Well, getting back to the Giants, this was part of the expansion to the West by Major League Baseball. The Dodgers and the Giants both headed out west within a year of each other. Mm-hmm. There's also the argument that in this market, Giants got here first. Giants got here first in 58, 9. A's didn't get here till 1968. came over from Kansas City. And although they were a powerful team in the early 70s, 3 straight World Series, 72, 73, 74, and they would pack the house, and they had stars. They had stars. Then were they underpaid? Yeah, they were, which ended up being a great divide for that team. But in this John Fisher era, for whatever reason, I don't know whether he writes it on a piece of paper or whatever, but they're given a budget. Do what you want with it. Do not go over this budget, and I'll just continue making money.
They don't like that.
So that's just kind of, you can't even find the A's on the radio.
Nope.
You have to go. You have to go to a website to pick up these games. So it's
that's sad.
This in this digital age, this is where we're going.
Is that the only team that's not on terrestrial radio stations?
I haven't checked with the Miami Marlins or the Tampa Bay Rays, other teams that are kind of in that same small market realm. I don't know. But as far as the radio, I'm talking about TV. I'm talking about radio.
Yeah. Radio.
You can't just jump in the car and just pull up an A's game on the radio. Can't be done.
I guess what just frustrates me, Vern, is the term small market with the A's, because they shouldn't be a small market, and I don't think they are. I feel like there's a lot of A's fans all over Northern California, all over the country. It's just the perception of a small market in kind of a cry wolf situation. So that's what frustrates me.
Well, if that's the perception, I mean, I have to believe in this day and age, if there was a way to monetize this team and make it more mainstream, they would have thought about it.
Yeah, but also,
I mean, they got a lot of people that work for them. I mean, that's a lot of board meetings. That's a lot of ideas. It's a lot of potential marketing. And for whatever reason, nothing's sticking.
I think
money on their athletes.
If you're a fan,
at the A's, they invest in these young guys that come up, they give them opportunity to play, and then as soon as they become big stars, they're traded for draft picks.
Well, okay. Also,
yeah, they're the developmental team for the Yankees and Boston and LA.
Well, also from a fan standpoint, if you have a choice of which game to go to, you going to San Francisco to AT&T Park is such a much nicer venue than the Oakland Coliseum. And also,
but I will say this,
Park,
hey, Edward, if you're tight in the wallet, and you want to go see baseball, that's a better deal.
That's for sure. Okay, guys.
Way by far.
All right, here's our second NBA trivia question, all right? I was born in Africa and attended college at Georgetown University. I'm a center and have won the NBA's Defensive Player of the Year on more than one occasion. Who am I? All right.
Most underrated player in history, and I won't say the name.
Oh, all right. So you already know this one too. Okay. That's our
Yes.
trivia question. All right. Born in Africa, attended Georgetown University, a center, and won NBA's Defensive Player of the Year on more than one occasion. All right. Stay with us. You're listening to Sports Econ 101. Don't put that down. We're going to be right back. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. One more time, Edward Brown here along with FP Santangelo Jr., Russell Jackman, and Vern Glenn. Second trivia question. This NBA player was born in Africa, attended Georgetown University, is a center, and won NBA's Defensive Player of the Year on more than one occasion. What occasion? Who is it? Vern.
Well, he blocks shots, and then he says, no, waving his finger, and his name is Dikembe Mutombo.
Yeah, I love the commercial where he's doing that to people in the office and the grocery
shopping markets. Yeah,
that is a great. I love that.
Yeah, that's the Geico commercial. Yep.
Oh, that's right. That's what it is. Yeah, that is really funny. Okay, all right, guys. Moving on here. Let's talk a little bit about the USFL 2.0. It's being sued.
Do we have to?
By the original USFL, which operated from 1983 to 1985. If you guys remember, a young Donald Trump sued the NFL. You remember that? Because they were trying to put him out of business. Regular season started April 16th, and it goes to June 19th. Both Fox and NBC will televise the games. Doesn't Fox own this USFL too? If I'm not mistaken.
I don't know. I'll be brutally honest with you. I do not know about the business model of this.
I'm going to make a prediction
USFL.
here, and I'm going to say it's going to be marginally more successful than the XFL. and I'm saying marginally
Marginally,
more
yeah.
successful.
Okay.
than
And
the
they're
XFL.
also thinking about having I don't know if they've already done it, a glowing football so viewers can see the ball more easily. You know, it's funny how they have like, I mean, it's kind of nice when they put the line of scrimmage or, you know, with the 10-year, with the 10, you know, with the first down marker, you know, for us viewers to be able to see, okay, they have to get to this point.
I know when you
That
watch old
technology,
football
by the
now,
way,
you
came
miss
from
it.
the Bay Area.
Say again, Burton?
Technology came from the Bay Area. A Mountain View company came up with that.
Okay.
They're also the same company where if you watch NASCAR and you see the cars running around and they have a little arrow that points to see which. That's the same technology, same company, based in Mountain View.
And that's pretty smart. I mean, that part of it's good. I kind of like, you know, whatever happened to a couple years ago, Monday Night Football, where they had the really colorful uniforms. I thought those were kind of fun.
Well, they do those on Thursday nights now, where you've got teams all in these. Yeah, it's Thursday night now.
All right.
More of an NFL Network type thing now.
I kind of like them. I thought I know it's kind of a gimmick and stuff, but I thought these uniforms were kind of fun. Very
well. You'll have to wait till next season on Thursday nights to enjoy.
All right. So now maybe Colin Kaepernick should try out for the USFL since he's still not getting any big chances in the NFL. What do you think?
I don't know. You have to ask him. I mean, I know he wants to play, but does he want to play that badly? I don't know.
Guys, the only thing I know about the USFL is dispute over chicken salad. Did you guys hear this story?
No.
The guy wanted a story. Pizza.
Okay, so here's the story. Let me break it down for you guys. Davion Smith, who's the lead running back in the league, got cut because he chose chicken salad over pizza.
No. He wanted pizza.
Yeah. He chose pizza. Yeah, he wanted pizza, but he refused chicken salad in the cafeteria. And his coach of the Maulers, the Pittsburgh Maulers, Kirby Wilson, sat down with them, recorded it on a video, and they posted it to Twitter. And he's like, "Wait a minute, I'm getting cut because I wanted pizza instead of chicken salad." And Kirby Wilson wouldn't give him a straight answer, and he wouldn't look him in the eyes. He's like, "You know what you did? We're gonna not talk anymore." And then he just like gets up and walks away without shaking his hand. And it's the most ridiculous video I've ever seen. It's the biggest power trip I've ever seen. And Twitter destroyed this coach.
Yeah.
Oh
apparently, it has to do with disrespecting the cafeteria worker. Is apparently what. Apparently, when you dive in a little deep, I'm not saying right or I'm just saying that these are.
They came out with a statement because this team was getting so crushed on Twitter. A joint statement saying that it wasn't because of the chicken salad, it was because he disrespected a worker or something of that, and then 2 other team offenses. But I just this screams like what the hell is going on? If this is your biggest story in the USFL is over chicken salad and pizza. We're having some issues. That's all I'm saying.
Just don't order a Diet Coke.
Then, heaven forbid.
All bets are off if you do that.
Yeah, I'm with FP on that one.
That's
guys, it's going to be a failure. Nobody can go up against the NFL and succeed if they have very low expectations set and that they want to be this, second-rate league and a place where guys go to end out their careers, or guys who get cut, want to have another chance of playing somewhere before they get back in the NFL. Then that's fine. But this is gonna be, there's no buzz around the USFL. I kind of even forgot that it was playing until you brought it up today.
Yeah. Well, here's the hard part, right? You get warm weather. People are really starting to decide, hey, all right, baseball season, that's our season, nice in the summertime and all that. And then the NBA playoffs are going on.
Right.
And that's going to continue till May?
Through June,
right?
Close to July now.
This USFL 2.0 is going to be over because it goes from April 16th to June 19th. I mean, you're only going to get the diehard football all the time type of fans.
Yeah, that must be the business target model. These football fans that just can't get enough, so they throw the USFL on, and they're just knowing that it's only temporary from April to June, and by the time you jump out of June, the NFL training camps are getting ready to go full swing anyway. And so you're really kind of going unopposed to anything else.
And is arena football still around?
Yes, going on right now. In fact, the Bay Area has a franchise.
Okay, because
The
that
Bay Area Panthers.
San
that was
Jose,
kind
is
of
it the
fun.
Sabercats are still alive?
SaberCats are gone. It's all about the Bay Area Panthers, co-owned by Marshawn Lynch. They play their games at SAP Center in San Jose.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, he owns part of it. Yeah, I thought that was kind of sort of fun how they do the arena football. You know, how you can have the wide receivers in motion going forward, and then getting it off the net and all that. I mean, it's kind of, again, it's all gimmicky, but it's kind of fun. Okay, hey, moving on.
Same rules apply. Same rules apply. It's just the indoor football league, not arena football. The indoor football league.
Ah, okay. I'm still used to calling it arena football. So what's this thing about Deebo Samuel receiving death threats due to removing himself via white?
He posted that. He posted that himself.
Yeah, from social media. I mean, what's wrong with people? Deebo is awesome. Everybody loves this guy. We're, as a fan, San Francisco 49er fan, we're hoping that this doesn't deter him from staying with the 49ers during his contract negotiations. I mean, one would hope that he would just get all the noise out and just focus in on his contract, because I mean, what's wrong with people? Tell me what's wrong with people, FP.
Well, for me, it always comes down to gambling. Like, the people that usually are so upset are the people that have lost a lot of money betting on the 49ers in some way or way or another, or the overly weird diehard fans that really feel like they're going to lose Deebo Samuel if the 49ers are not willing to pay him. At the end of the day, guys, it's just a game. This is for entertainment. This isn't life or death. Yeah. I always try to tell people, at least when I'm working on live TV, that if we mess up, no one's going to die. That's what's great about our jobs. We're not paramedics. We're not firefighters. We're not police officers. So you guys just got to remind yourself this is a game. And if you have a betting problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Maybe talk to somebody, because you do not need to take it out on these athletes.
Okay, so regarding the gambling, so Hugh Jackson, the coach of the Cleveland Browns, said that he was incentivized to lose games. I don't know if he was paid like $100,000 a game to lose. And I'm thinking, what's the difference between that and shading points? I mean, why isn't that a big scandal?
I think
shaving points, you can get you can get away with shaving points in basketball. Football, not so much.
Yeah, but still, I mean, and no one's accusing Hugh Jackson or the ownership that I know of, of gambling. But just the idea of tanking. I guess what they did, the tank to either move the team or to get a better pick for next year, right?
You tank to get a better pick. You tank to get a higher draft pick. That's why you tank.
Gentlemen, this is why you bet on dice, you bet on cards, you bet on slots. There's lots to gamble on, but I am not gambling on sports. I'm not. I just am not. There's other ways to gamble, other things you can gamble on. You gamble on sports, you're taking a huge risk, and I'm upset that the world is trending towards making gambling open to everybody all the time, 24/7, everywhere you go, on everything. I just don't think it's a good idea.
No, for society, it's a terrible idea. I mean, what always seems to follow gambling, right? You got the drugs, the prostitution, the mafia type stuff. I mean, is it ever not followed it?
Well, I would say
it destroys lives.
Yeah,
it destroys lives.
Yeah, go ahead, Effie.
Well, I would just say this: if it's regulated, you're not going to get all that stuff. It's going to be a lot cleaner. It's going to be government regulated. All that stuff is going to be weeded out. I mean, I've seen that at least with the legalization of marijuana in my lifetime. Marijuana has become a lot cleaner. There's a lot less of all that stuff involved, the crime involved. So hopefully, if gambling is legalized, all that stuff is gotten away with, the mafia, the breaking of kneecaps, all that stuff. I think what you're going to see more is addiction and issues like that. So maybe we need to start having resources ready for when those issues start to happen with certain individuals that don't have that off and on switch like all of us do. So for me, if it's going to be government regulated, it's going to be cleaner. That's just how it goes.
It's interesting. I actually have a little story about that. When I was 25 years old, I had come up with this, craps game type, or not game, but I mean a little strategy on craps. And it was one of those situations where the odds were in your favor 4-1. The problem is you only got paid 1/6 of a wager. That's where if you did it forever, the house would always win. But it worked for the first few times. And then one time I made one very large bet and it went the wrong way. And I was so in shock that it happened that it took the gambling bug right out of me. So it was the cheapest, most expensive lesson I'd ever learned. And it's one of those weird things where you kind of almost are glad that it happened, right? I mean, 25 years old, back in 1985, losing $1,600 on one roll of dice, that was a lot of money,
Yeah.
But it was really weird looking back on it. Like now I can go to Vegas or whatever and just bring like $100 and then go use it like totally for entertainment. And if I lose it, it's no big deal. But it's a very, very odd situation. So rather than doing the opposite where it's like I had to keep chasing, it was like a big knock on the head.
Well, not everybody has that self-control. It's a multi-billion-dollar business. It's not going away. Some people, they just need to bet on something just to have an edge.
Yeah.
And then Mr. Jackman's right. I mean, it's a compulsive thing. Some people just can't help themselves.
And in fact,
and there's a lot of businesses that try to convince people that it's a business, that it's a way that you can actually make a living off of gambling.
Well, not only that, but even people who win, they just keep gambling until they eventually lose it all to where they don't have a choice. Okay, guys, going into our third trivia question, the NBA. I have won championships with the Bulls and the Lakers, but I began my career with Cleveland. I also played with the Clippers and am the highest paid Clipper of all time. I earned, $4 million as a Clipper. Now this is going back a few years because probably by now there's been some other players who have earned more. All right, who am I? All right, stay with us. Sports Econ 101. I'll be right back with some closing comments. Welcome back to Sports Econ 101. Last time for today, I'm Edward Brown, your host, along with Vern Glenn, Russell Jackman, and FP Santangelo Jr. All right, who has won championships with the Bulls and the Lakers, but began his career with Cleveland, also played with the Clippers, and was the highest paid Clipper of all time? And we're going back, maybe at least five or 10 years ago.
Is it Ron Harper?
It is Ron Harper.
Beautiful.
Good, Russell. Holy
There we go.
3 for 3.
I do know my trivia. I do know my NBA trivia.
I know. I decided not to go back to the 1950s because I figured, any questions from the Minneapolis Lakers was not going to be a happy tune for you.
That gets tough. That
one gets pretty tough. Yeah.
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good back to like Wilt Chamberlain days, and then after that, I get a little fuzzy.
You know what? He was my favorite player. I just loved watching Wilt Chamberlain. Now it was just a man among boys. Didn't he average like 50 points a season?
Yes,
50 and 25. 50 and 20. He also averaged 25 rebounds a game on that same season where he scored 50.
I mean, except for Bill Russell, I'm not sure who else was tall enough to go against him back then.
Nobody. And so that was a big, and Kareem, when, Lou Alcindor / Kareem
that's true. Okay. Hey, guys, you ready? Here's our thoughts for the day. Why did the farmer get acquitted for stealing seeds?
Why is that?
Because the evidence was planted. Okay. All right. And what's the difference between a genie and a scientist? One grants wishes and the other wishes for grants.
Oh, nice.
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 Like that one, huh? All right.
Nice.
Tune in next week to Sports Econ 101. We're going to be discussing sports topics from a business perspective and asking more sports trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm your host, Edward Brown. We will see you next week.
Good night, America.
Adios.
So long.